Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My dear students, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to talk about the Industrial Relation Act of 2012. This law is made to regulate the relation of workmen or trade unions and the management of, industries or any sort of establishment where workers are working. So first of all, let us see, the very first topic which this Industrial Relation Act is dealing with is trade union. And I have told you that this act is a is for regulating the relation of management and workmen. So this relation is for in this relation, trade union is a very important institution. So what does it mean? Let's look into it. A trade union is an association of workers in a particular trade, industry, or company created for the purpose of securing improvement. And the purpose of trade union, it is created for the purpose of improvement in pay, benefit, working condition, or social and political status. So in simplest possible words, if you wanted to define, or if you wanted to make another person to understand the meaning of trade union, you can say that it is an association of workmen whose object is to promote and defend workers' rights and interests in an industry or establishment. Section 2 paragraph 29. Paragraph 29 of Section 2 of the Industrial Relation Act 2012 has defined it. But as I have been repeatedly telling you that these acts, these legislations, they are not, they are not drafted or made for the purpose of being a textbook to be taught in a classroom. The draftmen, they have their own objectives for drafting these laws. That's why sometimes students may come across, difficulties in understanding, definition. So let's look at the definition, how trade union, the phrase trade union has been defined. Section 2, paragraph 29 says that trade union means any combination of workers formed primarily for the purpose of furthering and defending the interest and right of workers in any industry or establishment, and includes an industry-wise federation of two or more collective bargaining agent unions, and a federation at the national level of 10 or more collective bargaining agents. I mean, this definition, as I told you, it hasn't been drafted and included in this act for the purpose of students. This is the duty of the teacher to explain. So here in this definition, the lump sum of this definition is that a trade union is an association of workers in an industry which works for the development and protection of rights of workmen. Then you might have came across a new word which you could not understand, that is bargaining agent, collective bargaining agent. So collective bargaining agent, we are going to talk about it, and there is a section in today's lesson which will, highlight the meaning of it. Let's first of all discuss what is trade union, how it is established, what are the requirements, etc., etc. So a trade union being an association of workmen in an industry, this is a representative body of workers which negotiates with the management of the factory. Article 17, what is the authority of this right? Who has given this right to the workers to make trade unions? Article 17 of the Constitution of Islamic Republic of Pakistan. Article 17, bestows upon the workers in a factory the right to make a trade union to participate in the activity of a trade union. Article 17 says every citizen shall have the right to form associations or unions subject to any reasonable restrictions imposed by law in the interest of sovereignty and integrity of Pakistan public order or morality. So the source of this law, the source of this right to have a trade union, you see, is Article 17 of the Constitution of Pakistan. Uh, Only that trade union is considered to be a trade union which has been registered under the Industrial Relations Act of 2012. In this regard, Section 8 of the Industrial Relations Act 2012 is very clear. It says that a trade union, which is a trade union, has to be got registered under Section 8 of the Act. You can infer from the wording of Section 8 that a trade union which has not uh, been registered is not a trade union in the eye of law. So a trade union which is not registered has no existence in the eye of law and has no authority to represent the workmen of an industry or establishment in any matter. So its registration is compulsory, and the registration is conducted under Section 14. Section 14 says that every registered trade union shall be a body corporate, and very, surprising thing that a trade union is not a company. A company is a juristic personality which can own properties, which can sell and buy in its own name, which can sue in its own name, which can be sued in its name. You see, and that corporate body is called company, for which there is a special procedure for creation or for incorporation of that company. So Section 14 is a law, and it has made that although a trade union is registered under the Industrial Relations Act of 2012, and you see requirement which are prescribed by the Company Ordinance 2017 are has have nothing to do with the trade union, but trade union would be taken, would be considered as a registered trade union. Not every trade union shall be a body corporate by the name under which it is registered, shall have the perpetual succession and a common seal and the power to contract and to acquire, hold and dispose of property, movable or immovable, and shall by the same name sue or to be sued. So all the characteristics of a company, private or public, they have been attributed under Section 14 of the Industrial Relations Act to a trade union. So a trade union will have its name, and it will have the authority, like a natural person will have the authority to buy and sell, to conclude contract in its own name. It can sue in its own name, can be sued in its own name. Okay, so it is a body corporate. Then come this is, and it's very clear that it is an association which look after the rights, protect the rights of workmen in an establishment or in an industry or in a factory. Okay, how it is made and what are the requirements and what else law, this Industrial Relation Act prescribes no mechanism for its election, etc., etc. If few workers they have got together and they have made the constitution of their trade union, and they have chosen through ballot, through election, their office bearer, like chairman, president, vice president, secretary, this, that. You see, this law, does not interfere into their own election of office bearer. But it says that a trade union must be got registered, and it would be considered under Section 14 as a body corporate. And this is that body which represents the workman in a factory, in an industry, while negotiating about their rights, about the protection of their rights with the management of the industry. Then the next thing which we are supposed to understand is section 2, paragraph 4, which talks about bargaining agent. Collective bargaining agent. A collective bargaining agent is a trade union. It's a trade union. A trade union must be a few workmen, you see, and must be having their own office bearers, etc. So a collective bargaining agent is a trade union which is the elected agent of worker in an establishment. A collective bargaining agent is elected after holding a ballot election if there is more than one union in an establishment. Okay, so if there is just in a factory, there is one, I mean, don't think that only one, there will be only one trade union. You might have seen the banners of different labor unions. They are sometimes termed as a labor union as well. I mean, but the legal phrase used for it is trade union under the Industrial Relations Act. You might have seen different groups and different labor unions in CDA, the contracts election. So if in an industry there is just one trade union, that would be given the status of collective bargaining agent. I mean, as a representative of the workers working in that industry or in that establishment. But in case where there are more than one trade unions, only one of them would be chosen to be a collective bargaining agent. I mean, it's not possible for the management to negotiate with two, three trade unions. I mean, two, three representatives of the workers. The representative of the workers, according to this law, must be one. If there is one, that would be given the status of collective bargaining agent. And you see, the only that trade union would be recognized as a lawful representative of the workers in industry, which has the status of collective bargaining agent. So if there is one, that would be given this status. But in case where there are more than one trade unions, and usually in huge industries, there is a possibility, there is a probability that there might be more than one trade union. So only that trade union would be legally considered as representative of the workman, which has been given by law the status of collective bargaining agent. But what does it mean? I mean, what's the difference between a trade union and collective? I mean, what attribute, what are the features of a, and what are the function of the collective bargaining agent? It's a trade union, which is the elected agent of workers in an establishment. This is the only elected representative of the workmen. A collective bargaining agent is elected after holding an election in case where there are more than two, as I told you. Let's see what's the definition in the Act. Section 2, paragraph 4 of the Act defines it as collective bargaining agent in relation to an establishment, group of establishment, or industry. Means the trade union of the workman, which under section 19 is the agent of workmen in the establishment, or as the case may be, industry in the matters of collective bargaining. I mean, where there are going a bargaining between the management and the workmen. What does bargaining here mean? Negotiation. If there are differences of opinion, if there is a dispute between the workers and the management, you see, workers are represented by that trade union, which is considered under Section 19 as the collective bargaining agent. I mean, the only agent, only representative of the workmen who represent workmen during the negotiation with the management. So section 19, you see, prescribes the procedure through which you see a trade union is granted the status of a collective bargaining agent. It says, section 19 says that if there exists only one union and its members are at least one third of total workers, this, don't forget that only that trade union would be given the status of a collective bargaining agent if its membership is one third of the total workers in an establishment. Just suppose that if there is an industry, there is a factory where the number of workmen is 300, and there is only one trade union, but unfortunately, the number of its members is 99. So it cannot apply. You see, this status is not you see, given without application. The trade union which is interested, you see, in getting the status of collective bargaining agent, it must apply to the establishment. So if there exists only one union and its members are at least one third, at least in case of 3,000, its membership must be 1,000 and above. If just suppose in a factory there is only one trade union, and unfortunately, it's impossible. It never occurs in the real life. You see, trade unions, they have a membership in thousands. But just making you understand that the condition which has been imposed by Section 19, that if there are just one trade union and it has got only 999 members, it has no right to apply for the status of collective bargaining agent. It must be representing at least one third of the workers. Okay, so if it has got, uh, you see, 1,000 out of 3,000 workers, it can apply. It can qualify to apply for getting the collective bargaining, the status of collective bargaining agent. In case where in an industry, you see, there are more than one trade unions, just suppose there are two, three rival, you see, and all of them, they have, just suppose that there are three trade unions. The total number of workers in that industry is 3,000, and all the three trade unions, you see, the number of their members is 1,000 each. So it means that all the three trade unions, they can apply under section 19 for the status of collective bargaining agent. There can't be more than one collective bargaining agent in an industrial establishment. So if there are three, and there are three applications, you see, and all the three trade unions, they are, you see, they want to get this collective status of collective bargaining agent. So how one of them would be chosen? Section 19 talks about that. In case of more than one trade unions in an establishment, the registrar is an officer which is appointed under the Industrial Relation Act of 12,002. They will apply to the registrar in writing. Is to hold a secret ballot, and whenever a registrar receives the applications of more than one trade unions, he would, you see, he would conduct a secret ballot, secret election after having received application for determining status of collective bargaining agent. So naturally, you see, only the top should be. I mean, it's not the case, but you see where there are three people or three trade union are contesting the election, you see that trade union which is getting the most vote, the most is supported by most of the workers, that would be given the status of collective bargaining agent. Now here question arises that whether every worker has a right to vote in case where collective bargaining, where you see a trade union is being chosen to become a collective bargaining agent for representing the workmen in the industry. Um, yes, everyone except few. I mean, what are the qualifications? So, I mean, it's not simple that he must be a worker. No. Section 19 says that he must have at least 3 months service. If he has got 2 months, 29 days service, or if he has 2 months, 2.5 months service, he is not eligible to vote in this election. In the same way, uh, he must be a member of trade union. There might be, I mean, it's not compulsory. It's not, you see, necessary that every workman would be the member of trade. There might be many workmen who are not interested in trade union activities, or who do not know, you see, the privilege or the benefit of becoming a member of a trade union. So only that worker would be eligible to vote if he has got membership of the trade union. And thirdly, not only membership, but he is registered as a voter in the voter list. So three qualifications: a service about 3 months, a membership of a trade union, and you see registration as a voter in the voter list. So only that worker can vote. Okay, uh, a trade union cannot be certified as collective bargaining agent by the registrar unless the votes received by it are at least 33% of the total employed workers in an establishment. Just suppose that there were three trade unions, and all the three trade unions, you see, they had the required number of workers as their members, as we just said that, you see, they must have 1/3 of the workers as their members. So just suppose 3,000 workers working in a factory, and there are three trade unions, and every trade union has got a membership of 1,000. So all of them, they are contested the election. They applied for getting the certificate or the status of a collective bargaining agent. So only one of them would be chosen. And you see, the one whose votes are not only the highest, but they are 33% of the total uh, employed workers. What does it mean? 33,000 in case of mm, in case of 3,000. There, I think I'm weak in maths, but I think that to become, or to become qualified for the status of collective bargaining agent, you see, in the case of election between three trade unions, only that trade union would be given this status or this certificate, which out of 3,000, which gets 999 votes. 999 votes. If you see, none of the three could get 933% of vote, just suppose, if none of the three gets 33%, one has got 30%, another has got 29%, and third one has got 20%. What is it? What does it mean? That none of the three trade unions are going to be given the status of collective bargaining agent? No, never. There is a procedure. Or just suppose that all the three, you see, all the three, although it's not possible, but if just suppose all the three trade unions have got equal votes, all the three have got 33%. Every one of the three trade unions, you see, have got 999 votes, 999 votes. It means that all the three are equal, are in unequal footing. So it means that there should be, we haven't got, no, we don't know the answer because we haven't got to that section. But you see, your legal wisdom will tell you that if all of, if none of them have got 33%, or if all of them they have got exactly 33%, you see, if two have got 33% and the third one has got 34%, then there will be no problem. And the trade union which has got 34% of votes, that would be given the status of collective bargaining agent. You see, but if they are all equal, all the three have got 33% votes, or all the three have got less than 33%. So what's the answer? The next section, you see, there would be, the same section says that if no union receives at least 33% of total votes of the employed workers, a second election would be held between the two unions who have secured the highest number of votes. Just suppose that the number of trade unions taking part in the election was three, and none of them could get 33% of votes. You see, one of them have got 30%, another 28%, and a third one 20%. So the top two would be chosen and re-election would be conducted. And the one who wins, that would be given the status, irrespective of the fact whether they have got 33% or not. 33, the condition of 33% votes is for the first election. For the second election, you see this condition, this is not a condition. If no union receives at least 33% of total votes of employed workers, a second election would be held between two unions who have secured highest number of votes. Thus, the union that wins that run-off election will be certified as a collective bargaining agent. As I told you, that one of the three has got 30, and the second one has got 28, and third one is 20. So the first two be chosen, and re-election would be conducted. In case of re-election, you see, one has got 25% and the other 24%. None of the two have got 33%, but one of them has got 25% vote and the other is 24% vote. The trade union securing 25% of votes of the worker would be certified, would be given the status of, you see, this collective bargaining agent. Okay, so let's talk about the functions. What are the functions? You see, what is collective bargaining agent for? Again, don't forget that there might be more than two, three trade unions in a factory running. It never means that if one of them has been given the certificate or status of collective bargaining agent, the remaining trade union would be abolished. No, no, they can run together. But the only that trade union would have the right to represent the workers while having while having negotiation with the management would be the collective bargaining agent. Okay, so what are the functions? Let's talk about it. But you see, in the second session, inshallah. Goodbye till second session. Just have a 5 minute break.